folks. This is Karen Trepte of KT Finances. Oh, Yahoo! I think we've got the tech working now. Okay, so welcome to my money talk, and let's dive right in and get started. So here we go. Oh my gosh, slides are working. Awesome. So anyway, for a lot of you who know me, I am Karen Trepte of KT Finances. I have ktfinances.com, and no, this is not a finance firm out of the back trunk of my car. I actually market for over 100 of the top national firms in the United States, and I just absolutely love finance. That's my jam. My dad opened Merrill Lynch in Tokyo when I was little, and so I have been interested in finance for a long, long time. The favorite part of my business is that I get to interact with you on financial consultations completely for free. In other words, I act like a personal shopper for you. Imagine that I was doing it for fashion instead of finance. I would line up 10 beautiful dresses in front of you, or suits if you're a gentleman, and say, which one do you like? And we would go with your goals. I would not have any bias, let's say, towards which one of those you picked out. We just want to make sure it suits you. So basically, I do the same thing for finance. I do all that part for free. When I find good matches for you, as I have for many, many of my clients, then the companies pay me a commission. So just want to be very upfront with you about how that works. So let's get into it. Let's talk about a subject that even when I got my MBA, went to College of Financial Planning, this is a savings vehicle, a long-term investment vehicle that I knew nothing about. So I was so excited when I found out about it, only because of my age, because you do have to qualify medically. I didn't qualify. So it's really my mission to help younger people just get a hold of their finances at the right times of their life. If you are a bit older, feel free to reach out. We'll do the best that we can. I have other savings vehicles as well, but this is probably my very favorite and the favorite of most of my clients. So it is called Indexed Universal Life Insurance. And the first thing I want to talk to you about today is that when most people think about life insurance, I know I did, which is why I'm so excited about this product and to share it with you. When most people think about that, they think about death. So let's talk about the iPhone 1 versus the iPhone 10. You see how technology has changed so radically over the years. And back in the day, iPhone 1 was absolutely glorious for what it did. But in today's technology, you don't have to have a 10, but you have to have something closer to that to even make it work. So, Indexed Universal Life Insurance, it's called technically a 7702A, which is an Internal Revenue Code. A lot of you are familiar with the code 401k. Well, 7702A is just another Internal Revenue Code. And it actually, for this product, was available, it's been available since 1913. So if that's the case, why am I making the reference to iPhone 1 to iPhone 10? Well, here's why. In 1913, $1913, you had to be at least a millionaire. Think about what a small percentage of the population that covered at that point in time. I'm good at math, but not a math whiz, so I don't know what today's equivalent would be, but I would guess probably somewhere around $50 million. With inflation, things have gone way up. So the exciting part is that this savings vehicle is actually available for people now of all kinds of different income ranges. If you're buying a policy, if you saw my YouTube last week on Million Dollar Baby, if you're buying it for your children to guarantee that they are millionaires, you could spend $50 a month. My daughter has it set up for my grandchildren, for both of them, for less than $100 a month. Now, if you're getting it set up for yourself, which I definitely recommend if you qualify, I have had people in their early 20s that can be guaranteed to be millionaires just with like $100 a month investment. So we're talking about some pretty small numbers. As you get older, if you look at my YouTube on compound interest, you'll see that you actually have to save more towards retirement or long-term goals the older you get, because then you don't have the time value of money. So before we get into some more details, I just want to explain to you, for Indexed Universal Life, I want you to imagine this red electric fence that is around your money. If you use this vehicle, again, if you qualify, which we can determine by sending it to underwriters, then the assets or the money or the income, whatever vocabulary you choose to use, that are inside this red electric fence cannot be touched for a lot of different things. In other words, if the IRS were coming after you, if you were going bankrupt or going through foreclosure, they could not touch your funds that you had set aside in this special Internal Revenue Code called 7702A. Another favorite aspect of this is if you have children that will be going to college and you want to set aside funds for them, all the funds you put inside this vehicle are not counted towards assets when it comes to their getting free money. Now they've earned it, right? If they're getting a scholarship or getting some sort of grant for college. Not only that, when you put the money inside of this vehicle, you're never taxed again. Now you have to pay taxes legally. That's it. That's the law, right? You have to pay taxes on your income once. What you don't have to do is you don't have to continually pay taxes on the money that you set aside in this special vehicle. And perhaps on another YouTube, I'll tell you about the other two options that there are, but this is actually the very best. So that gives you a little bit of information. And of course, when you come on a free financial consultation with me, I will go through a whole, we'll probably spend about an hour and a half together deciding what your goals are. I will show you very, very detailed slides about how this works, but this is just to give you a brief introduction. So with all the options in the marketplace for investment and insurance products, it can be super confusing to know what's a good choice and who's it for. Like I said, even with all my financial background, I used to always think about life insurance as just for death. And a lot of people, quite frankly, don't necessarily want to set aside right now for future generations. They are struggling as it is to make things work for themselves right now, or they're just not in a frame of mind. Maybe they're not even married. Maybe they don't even have kids. So the death benefit part of a life insurance vehicle, which is always, you're always given that as well. It's included, if you will, in the package, is not necessarily the primary reason to invest in an IUL. The primary reason is that you can accumulate all your great earnings inside of this vehicle and not pay taxes on them. And you can also as long as you're using it as a long-term savings vehicle, I don't do anything for short-term. You don't put it in this and then take it out in 3 years. It doesn't work like that. But if you plan long-term, which is part of what we do together, you can loan your money back to yourself when you have needs for it down the line, and you don't have to pay that money back. So it's pretty exciting. So here are some of the reasons why a universal and indexed universal life, which is a specific kind of universal life policy, might be a good fit for you. And it does need to be structured correctly. I am licensed by the state of California, and now because of my online business, I'm also licensed in Hawaii and Maryland, and working on expanding that listing. So here's some of the reasons might be a good fit for you. Well, if you've been watching the market at all lately, you've seen how it goes up and down. And I do want to share with you, this is personal for me. In 2001, my mom lost $2 million in market. So this is real, folks. The fluctuations of the market are real. And right now, the market has been trending down. I think it just lost like all of its gains for 2018. And people will tell you that sure, if you're young, you can outlast the market. That is one strategy. I do agree. However, there are safer strategies out there, and indexed universal life happens to be one of them. Because in 2008, my husband lost his job for 2.5 years. A lot of people lost their homes. The market went down 38%. The market normally fluctuates historically about every 7 years. 2001, 2008, we're now in 2019. So you can see what very well might be ready for a correction. In fact, you've been seeing that if you watch the news that it has been correcting. So, also, when the market goes down 38%, it doesn't have to just go back up 38% for you to be even. It has to do much better than that. So, if you put your money in an indexed universal life, it tracks the market, yes, which is why my clients last year earned 15% on their money, which is pretty darn good for such a safe vehicle. It goes up with the market. But if you're invested just in the market, let's see if I can get my hands just right, here we go. If you're invested just in the market, when the market goes down, you've lost money. And if you need access to that money, like I did in 2008, I had done very, very well in the market. I needed access to it. Why? I was planning long term, but not thinking well enough. Because when my husband lost his job for 2.5 years, we had to have income. So I want you to be prepared long term. So as I was saying, if you're solely in the market goes up, the market goes down. If you're in an indexed universal life product, the market goes up, your product goes up, and then when the market goes down, your capital is completely safe. You never lose even 1 penny of it. So think about that. So it can be really nerve-wracking to watch your money increase and decrease, sometimes by huge amounts. You can't control that at all, and you don't have any say over it. Index universal life, you simply say, this is the amount I'm putting in per month. I know I'm comfortable with it. I never, ever encourage anybody to say they're going to put in, way too much money that they can't afford. That's why we have these long discussions, make sure that we're doing everything just right for you. But it is so much safer. So if you're in the danger zone, which you're 7 to 10 years before and after retirement, you simply can't afford to lose any money. And I know if you're young, this is really hard to think about when you're young, but it's important to think about it. You know those beautiful people you see working at Walmart who might be in their 70s? I mean, I'm 64. I'll just say that out loud. So it's not that far off for me. So my heart definitely goes out to them. Sometimes you'll find someone who's back maybe at a pharmacy, who's already retired, who's been a pharmacist before but lost a ton of their money in the market, had to go back to work. We don't want that to happen to you. So many people do leave the largest percentage of their money in the stock market right up until the day they retire. That's really dangerous. I do also have annuity products that you don't have to qualify for medically, and I've gotten a lot of my clients safely into those as well. So, the third reason that you might want to consider an indexed universal life is you don't want to give up on getting a competitive return. So last year, a lot of my clients made 12 to 15%. Actually, some of them made even a little more. So this is not, I'm not advertising that as a rate that I can get for you. It depends on a lot of different things. And honestly, that's not, 15% is not a sustainable level for something that's so safe. It just happened to be the return that they got last year. So I'm making that clear as well. So these were great returns for a vehicle where their money was protected and guaranteed. And think about that in comparison to most savings accounts, where your interest and potential earnings is less than 1%. So there's many choices. Obviously, there's no perfect investment, which is why we have our free financial consultation up front. Each one has some give and take. So my goal is always with my clients, I'm not bound to just one company, which is really super exciting for me because who doesn't love choice, right? It's great to have the choice. It's great to say, okay, here are my goals, Karen. What can we do? And then I'll come back to you and give you, 2 or 3 different ones after I research the multiple companies that I represent. So indexed universal life is really a great choice if you're concerned about safety and growth and drawing in income in retirement, or even saving for long-term goals. Say you want a second home or a first home, a vacation home, you want to travel, all those different things, your children's education, all those different things you can use this vehicle for. So if not losing money is very important to you, I highly suggest you check out this option. And here is my book session link. So if you don't write it down, don't worry. I'm really easily available. You'll find me on KT Finances. You'll find me on a whole bunch of the different social media channels. So thank you so much for listening. Seriously, consider your options. Reach out to me. I love talking to people and helping them with their finances. So have a beautiful weekend, and I'll chat again next time. See you then.